Lawmakers must agree on a budget for the next biennium by June 30th. The Republican-led Senate and the DFL-led House have begun passing their budget proposals. This week, I spoke with Majority Leader Ryan Winkler about the House's budget plan. Critics say that coming out of a pandemic with a projected surplus of $1.6 billion is not the time to raise taxes. The House budget plan proposes raising taxes on wealthy Minnesotans through the creation of a fifth income tax tier, as well as seeking to prevent multinational corporations from sheltering money in offshore accounts. Speaker Hortman called this raising progressive revenue. Why is increasing revenue necessary?
We need to increase the investment that we are making in Minnesota's children, from early childhood and childcare through the K-12 system and on to higher education. Bottom line, Minnesota cannot be a successful state in the long run unless our kids come to the workforce ready to work and be productive. We have some of the worst racial disparities in the nation in educational outcomes. And as Minnesota becomes more diverse, our state can't afford to leave so many students behind. If you look at what we have done in education funding over the last 20 years, Minnesota has become very average. And we can't succeed as an average state. We have to be above average and do more for students than what we're doing right now. And so we are raising revenue because we need a sustained long-term investment in Minnesota's kids that goes beyond the flatlining in education that we've seen over the last couple of decades. Even a 2% and 2% increase in the education funding formula does nothing more than continue the status quo. We actually need to do more for Minnesota's kids.
And can you go into some specific details, because you're asking for about $1 billion more for education for the next biennium than the Senate plan is. In addition, you mentioned the 2% increase on the formula per year, but what else generally would that money spend to help address the disparities that have probably become even more apparent in the pandemic?
Well, first of all, fortunately, through the action of President Biden and the Democrats in Congress, we have over $500 million in funding for childcare, high-quality childcare, and early childhood education. We know that going into the lives of kids when they're young and giving them the right kind of start in life pays dividends for decades. And so we need to make sure that we're investing early. We also need to make sure that our K-12 system not only can continue doing the job it's doing right now, but enhance its efforts to support Minnesota's kids, especially those who have an array of challenges that they're bringing to school that a generation ago didn't have. And finally, we can't saddle students with debt that is a real barrier to achieving higher education. We need more productive workers, and our education system needs to function from the very beginning through the very end to bring all students to the same level of accomplishment at a base level. And if we are creating barriers at a higher education level, we are just adding to the barriers faced by Minnesota's kids who are poor or first-time college students, kids who come from low-income communities, generally kids who are students of color who face many barriers. We just need to do a better job, and that's what our bills are focused on.
There is an agreement with Republican-led Senate on not taxing the federal Paycheck Protection forgivable loans, as well as the additional federal stipend that people on unemployment received, to a point, because the Republicans would not tax that money across the board at the state level. But the House and the governor's plan does put a cap on that at $350,000 for PPP and $10,200 for unemployment. Why put a cap on the benefit?
So for PPP, the fact of the matter is that very profitable, very large corporations received most of the money from the federal government, 68%. Minnesota has to decide whether providing a tax benefit to very large, very successful companies in this pandemic is where we should prioritize our resources. We are supporting small businesses. We are supporting businesses that struggled through the pandemic. We 100% fund small businesses and businesses that struggled. We are not funding large, successful corporations. On the unemployment insurance, it's the same. We are capping it based on what the federal level cap was, because the fact of the matter is that many people still managed to come and go through the pandemic with periods of unemployment, but we don't need to provide a benefit for those who ended up doing well.
Other problem areas before the pandemic are likely worse now. Certainly they're more apparent, including a lack of affordable housing. You mentioned a lack of childcare in terms of education and early childhood funding. Also a lack of access to broadband. How does the House want to tackle those issues?
Well, first and foremost, billions of federal dollars are coming into Minnesota because of President Biden and the Democratic Congress, which will help in all of these areas. Direct aid for housing, direct aid for childcare, and direct aid in a lot of different ways. In total, the total amount coming to Minnesota is something like $8 billion for all of these areas. So the first thing that we are doing is making sure that the federal funds will be spent in the best way possible, and then looking at where there are gaps and where Minnesota should fill in. But I think it's really important to understand that the budget that we are working on this legislative session is a long-term budget that we will be living with in the years to come, whether it's in education or housing, as we build a budget base that will be the foundation for future budget decisions. We are making a longer term commitment. This federal money will come in, it'll wash over us, and it'll be gone at some point in time, and we will still then be left with the decisions that we are making this session. And so we want to get that right and make sure that our commitment is sustainable.
And so speaking of the money that's going to come in, both the governor and the House have spoken of the importance of meaningful investments, as you just said, for those most impacted by COVID-19. So what are some of the mechanisms that could help workers who've lost their jobs or small businesses who've lost significant revenue to stay afloat and then hopefully thrive in the future?
Well, first of all, throughout the pandemic, we prioritized small business. We provided a $200+ million package in December. And the reason we did that then is because we knew, or we had confidence, that the federal government was going to come forward with a much larger stimulus package to help those small businesses. That $200 million was essentially a lifeline to get them to the point where the federal money would come in. Now, with $8 billion coming into Minnesota, we have confidence that the direct aid to small businesses, the unemployment extension, the tax benefits, the new round of stimulus checks, and the vaccine funding all will have a hugely positive effect in the economy. We're already seeing that. And so we will be looking at the effect of the federal funds, the federal action, to determine if there are shortcomings or missing areas where we need the state to step in and act. But based on what we're seeing from the president and from what we've seen out of this Congress, we actually believe that our economy is poised for significant growth and a very strong rebound for all businesses.
Now, the pandemic, I think, is part of what quashed the ongoing debate over how to fund transportation projects in the state. But the House proposal is calling for a 5-cent per gallon gasoline tax to be added in over the next 4 years, plus higher motor vehicle taxes and a 0.5% transit sales tax in the metro area. Why is it important to raise dedicated funding for transportation projects?
Transportation is just like education or healthcare. You can't get something for nothing. And if you expect something for nothing, you're likely to end up with nothing. And we have seen in transportation that we have not had a significant gas tax. We've had no gas tax increase since 2008. That is the primary way that we fund roads and bridges in Minnesota. And so without some small increase in the gas tax, we are going to continue to see our roads, our bridges, our highways deteriorate. That's not good for the economy. That's not good for Minnesota's families. It's not good for communities anywhere in the state. So if you expect it to just magically repair itself instead of paying to have it repaired, I guess that, opposition to a gas tax makes sense. But I'm not aware that we have technology that allows roads and bridges and highways to fix themselves. We actually have to pay to do it.
Majority Leader Ryan Winkler, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.